know what your favorite shows were as a kid, but mine was Dirty Jobs of Mike Rowe. It was a great show. That's because I got to learn about the top 10 disgusting jobs in history. Ooh. Number 10, the Leech Collector. I'll start you guys with an easy one today, because trust me, this list, well, it gets very gross very quick. Leeches were used in medieval medicine to help stop bleeding or to purify you of one of the four humors, you know, bile, black bile, all that business. Now, usually I wouldn't be agreeing with medieval doctors because, well, it's not a good idea, but there is some merit to the leeches cleaning up blood. It's still done today, mind you, in a much more controlled situation with antibiotics on standby, etc. In the oldie times, someone had to go get them though. Someone had to roll up their sleeves or, well, actually keep them rolled down and walk into the swamp or whatever murky water there was and pick up the slimy bloodsuckers. It can be worse, as I'll prove in this list, but it's still not a great, it's not fun. I wouldn't want to do that. Picking up leeches and then like you go home and like, gee, I feel really tired today. And you look at your leg and you're covered in leeches, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be great. Number 9, Groom of the Stool. We've talked about this job before on Bumblebee, but Taylor and I think it's very funny because, well, yeah, it is. It's pretty funny. Basically, it's like having a bathroom attendant. Sometimes if I eat too many Slim Jims, candy, beer, and Taco Bell, I get an upset tummy, which means I'll be on the toilet hunched over, wishing to God I didn't have extra hot sauce on my tacos. Well, imagine if there was someone there to help you, someone to just talk you through it along the way, perhaps offer a conversation, a breath mint, and more importantly, aid you in cleansing the royal bottom. Ooh, yes. That's right, back in ye olde England, there was someone who aided the king in his bathroom duties. Funny enough, it was actually a well-respected position. Just, you know, keep some hand sanitizer nearby so you can just clean up after. I wouldn't want to do that. Number 8, the Vomit Collector. Here we go, folks. Romans, opulent partiers and conquerors of the ancient world. Can you just imagine what one of those parties was like? Oh, I'd love to go. If someone has a time machine, let me know. Call me. Well, supposedly, as the legend goes, the Romans were so opulent, so greedy, that they would vomit to make room for more food and treats at the most greedy of feasts. Well, this wasn't exactly a modern age, so the vomit wasn't going into a toilet or a modern plumbing system. Sometimes just on the floor. So someone had to come over and clean up all that refuse. Yes, that's right, the Vomit Collectors. Their job was to clean up after all the wealthy people emptying their stomach contents just so they could fill it back up a little more. Or a lot more, because it's a buffet and a feast. Gross. Number 7, Fuller. Fuller? How could this be bad, I thought to myself. What's a fuller? Well, folks, in a nutshell, it's someone who treats sheepskins, animal hides, tanning. It was very important in the past. We used animals for a lot of products back then. It's just kind of how we lived. With that being said, the process of which is not very desirable. Sheepskin is actually quite difficult to process without the use of chemicals. Well, and the only readily available chemicals at the time were urine. Oh boy, I want to puke thinking about it. The skins were soaked in urine and then processed. The urine was often collected from multiple people, and oftentimes the fuller would go door to door saying, "Right then, have you got any weed for me?" That's wrong.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I got a pot full. Give me a second. Are you having a good portal? Are you having a good day today?
Right, it's a good day, man. See you later. Thanks for the weed.
That's just so, ugh, gross. Number 6, match girls. Women in the workforce. Tough, dedicated, and in the numbers. Truth be told, I don't know where we'd be if it wasn't for the Rivet Rosie generation, especially during the World War era. I really don't know where we'd be. Couldn't do it without you. Well, let's take the match girls, for instance, who work day and night to make the very new and effective phosphorus match. Ooh, one strike all, baby, love it. Their job was to take little itty bitty pieces of wood and dip them into a phosphorus solution. Bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a match. That's how it goes. What's gross is that after years of working there and inhaling the vapors from the chemical soup they were working on, well, it had some pretty nasty side effects. It would cause cheeks to have a strange glow about them, and most commonly gums to bleed and have an awful smell pouring out of your mouth. That's not good. The only cure was to have an infected jawbone removed. Oh, that does not sound good. I don't like that. That's not good. Number 5, the Mudlark. This is the scavenger of scavengers. The Victorian era was a very interesting time, and it was very tough to be a poor citizen. It's tough to be poor anytime, but especially back then. That's why mudlarks existed, not your average day-to-day paycheck. The mudlarks would comb the streets, riverbanks, canals for, well, anything of value. Which back then was a lot of stuff. I mean, there were doctors constantly looking for subjects to run tests on, like a science fair gone wrong. The mudlarks would often walk and, walk some more in hopes of finding anything, sometimes even barefoot because, well, yeah, they were poor too, and in need of a little help themselves. This meant that they were often knee-deep in occupational hazards like sewage, freezing water, rats, bodies, bones, and anything else that you can imagine nobody wanted. Yeah, not good. Number 4, a sewer technician. It's a dirty job, but somebody's gotta do it. Today, modern sewers are tunnels and intertwining, well, tunnels that lead our least desirable filth to their final destination, whether that be the ocean or hopefully a purification plant. There's one near me. Sometimes, however, especially in older cities that haven't been equipped with the proper upgrades, these sewer lines can get clogged or jammed. Happens more than you think, actually. And when that happens, you don't call the Ghostbusters. Venkman's not going to help you here. You call the sewer technicians. Their job is simple: maintain the sewers and unclog the holiness that awaits them below. Imagine a whole city's worth of filth that gets flushed down the porcelain throne. And seriously guys, stop flushing wipes down the toilet. They're not flushable. Don't do it, it's bad. But yeah, they go and unclog it and then everything's good, and I hope they have a nice hot shower waiting for them because boy, they need it. That's not good, they need it. Number 3, Hoarder Cleaner. It's a tough situation and it's a really tough job. Hoarding disorder affects thousands worldwide. It's a mental disorder that causes severe distress, anxiety, and fear when the thought of even parting with a mundane item, eventually causing an unhealthy literal pile of stuff in the home that affects the person's mental and physical health. It's a bad situation. If you've ever seen that show on TLC, you know how gross it can get. Seriously, it's bad. Animal corpses, human refuse, and a collection of McDonald's toys that you forgot about. Everyone's got some of those. Well, when these places need cleaning out, someone has got to come over and do it. Gloves, respirators, hazmat suits, they got it all to get yelled at for trying to throw out piles of garbage, which the person can't help, but it's just like I said, it's a bad situation, man. Tough job. You're cleaning up poo-poo, and you get yelled at for cleaning up poo-poo. It's not a good time. Number 2, the rat catcher. The Industrial Revolution literally changed the fabric of society. Now there's lots of factories where people would clock in and clock out for a steady wage, whilst enjoying their position in the workforce, producing goods and products at an unknown level. Previously known, that makes sense, sure. But this also meant that cities got bigger, streets got more crowded, and that meant lots of rats living and loving it in that filth. That's why there were rat catchers, because there were so many rats. It was more than a problem, it was honestly an epidemic. The catcher would rub oil and thyme on himself to try and catch the rats with their bare hands, where then they would then be released elsewhere, but that kind of doesn't really... You gotta not do, because they'll come back. It's not a good solution. Number 1, the crime scene cleaner. I don't think I could ever do this. This is bad. It's all fun in primetime television when the cool detective takes off his sunglasses and makes a very low-hanging fruit pun about the crime scene he's standing in, followed by some super level DNA lab work and someone hacking a mainframe. Oh, it's all great. What great television. But someone has to clean that up in the real world. After all, if there wasn't someone to clean up those crime scenes, motels across America wouldn't have any rooms to rent out. But yes, there are people that do clean them, and yes, it's gross, and yes, I'll fast out if I talk about blood, so no more thanks. That's gonna wrap it up for me today, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe here at Bumblebee for more. And if you too want to clean a crime scene with me, boy, that doesn't sound right, check out my social somewhere down below. Come on and give me a follow. Just click the follow button. Come on, baby, you know you want to. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.